Of that finding is because transactions can move between accounts based on liquidating one asset, getting a loan, setting it up somewhere else, and set it up somewhere else for you. So, for example, Positive Jamaica, I understand, is a foundation, and you might want to move money from a foundation to another account, which is an investment account, to do transactions. Particularly when I look at Table 6, which is the assets, liabilities, and income held by Mr. Holness, you don't really see any significant positive movement in it. You see that there's movement between US dollar assets and Jamaican dollar assets, but the total of it, it doesn't seem as if there's any significant increase in assets.
The chartered accountant also calls into question claims by the Commission that a company named Green Emerald does not generate sufficient income to support loans valuing $20 million to Positive Media between 2021 and 2022.
I've looked through the report and I see, for example, that they're questioning loans from a company that does not have the income to lend the money. You don't have to lend money like that. You can lend money by basically being a guarantor, taking it in one name and sending it to another company. So there are some things there that I'm still trying to understand the conclusion from it, because I think there are still some things missing.
In addition, Mr. Chung says the Director of Investigation's claim of potential tax evasion on the basis of certain entities filing nil tax returns is dubious.
People filing nil returns, if you don't generate any profits, because remember, income is not profits, then you could file a nil return. And a lot of people also in the country, not just be touching this one, get dividends, for example, which is taxed at source, and don't know that they're supposed to file that also. I don't find that there's anything suspicious with it. The assumption also is that the tax people are not doing their work if the filings were made, because when you file, you actually do file financial statements with it. So it's not that you're just going to file the returns alone. As I said, if there's no profit, then of course it's going to be nil, because you don't get charged tax on total income.
That clip was coming to you from Nationwide, and we want to thank them for the clip. We have counsel and the head of the NIA, National Integrity Action, Daniel Archer, on the line. Daniel, good morning.
Blessings. Morning to you. Morning to your listeners. Happy Saturday.
Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Daniel, we want to talk to you about the Integrity Commission, because a lot of people hear about the Integrity Commission and they don't understand the roles and functions of the Integrity Commission, how it was set up, why it was set up, and what weight does it really carry. So tell us, what really is the Integrity Commission and what is it there for?
All right, so the Integrity Commission is set up as let's start with how we manage public officials.
Yes.
So when we think about public officials, one of the things you want to appreciate is that all public officials would have some kind of responsibility to ensure that their income matches their expenditure. So one of the things public officials had to do in the past was to file statutory declarations rather. And the statutory declarations are filed to ensure that persons who have access to public funding or have access to opportunities to exploit public funding or the public in terms of being able to collect or spend money, public funds, are doing so in a manner that is fair. And so when the statutory declarations are filed, they will to be reviewed, and the income is assessed against what your expenditure is. They look at your bank account, they look at your cars, they look at what you own, what you're spending, to ensure that it equals your income, or you have a good explanation for how you get it. That ensures that public funds are not used for the benefit of private gain. So that's one of the things that the Integrity Commission does. It's set up to ensure that statutory declarations that are filed by public officials are properly reviewed and investigated to ensure that we create as best as possible a corrupt-free society by preventing, detecting, investigating, and prosecuting acts of corruption. That's really what the Integrity Commission is aiming to do. They are the highest body that we have that is responsible for ensuring this high level of anti-corruption activity in the public space. and having been created by a statute of Parliament. So Parliament came together, both the opposition and the government, and it was passed in 2017 under the current government as being the kind of legislation to establish a very independent body that will be present to oversee parliamentarians and public officials. That makes sense so far?
No, yes, definitely. So,
all right. So that is what their mission is. Mm-hmm. So their mission is to ensure that we, as far as possible, balance the thing. Ensure that those who have access to resources, and I think you'll remember recently they increased the level of the persons who have to file statutory declarations. So it's not everybody. It's not all the people down there. People who earn over 12 million, you are expected to file this because they want to make sure that you're not utilizing your office for private gain.
No, Daniel, when a parliamentarian submits their filing to the Integrity Commission, what is expected of the Integrity Commission from there?
So they're going to investigate it. They're going to do your checks. So what they do is they look at the statutory declarations, and under this, so let me tell you a little bit more what the declarations include. So the declarations include whatever assets they have, the value of the home, the value of the car, the value of the investment. And it indicates what they have, however they get it. So you have to tell them if you've gotten a GLE and you didn't spend it, you didn't buy it, and somebody gave it to you, you have to explain how you get it.
So if you get gifts as a politician, you also have to declare that on your submission.
Correct. So gifts are to be declared, and the reason I think there's a challenge with the gift because there is something that indicates to find it. I think in the last report, the investigation had the investigators had mentioned that there's a loophole in terms of gifts in our legislation. In other words, I'll come back to you on that. I don't remember right now. Mm-hmm. But you are to disclose giving and receive the gift that you've gotten. And the reason for that is they want to make sure that you're not utilizing your office for private gain. So they're going to investigate. They're going to follow the cookie crumbs. If you say, is your auntie give you the GLE, mm-hmm. we're going to find out from your auntie where she gets the money from to buy the GLE. Because it could be that somebody who wants the politician to do something,
right,
give the auntie the gift, and the auntie give you the gift.
Yes.
So they want to make sure that parliamentarians are not being unreasonably influenced by outside sources to do things for their own benefit. They want to make sure that those who have access to resources are not exploiting their power. So they're going to follow the things that you put on the declaration, and they're going to check them to verify that it is so. So the last prominent case we had was that of the member of parliament, the former House Speaker, who had a GLE.
Right.
She bought a GLE.
And she never declared the GLE.
But it's not so much declaring the GLE, you know. She bought a GLE and she got traveling for the GLE.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But the GLE was, in fact, not being used by her for the office that she got it for. And it was being used by a family member.
And that was illegal, right?
And she didn't remember anything about it. So they were asking about it and said, oh, yes, I have it. I have it. And she explained that she bought it. She got the concession for it. And the investigation unfolded. The recommendation being that you would have gotten the use of it or the benefit of this vehicle, but you weren't using it for the job that you said you were using it for, but you were receiving travel for the said vehicle. So there was a little bit of uncertainty as it related to that vehicle.
Right.
And that's what they try. They try to match what you say with what you have in reality. And they will follow the investigations to see where they lead.
Daniel, are you aware of any politician that the Integrity Commission has charged and that politician go to court and got and where you just say the Integrity Commission lost the case?
I have to give that some thought.
But
I could research it.
None come to mind
at this time. It's not usually when the IC takes them. It's usually in breach of the statutory or failing to file their statutory declarations on time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a strict, what you call a strict liability thing. In other words, if you never file it, you never file it.
Right.
And so they would have had to pay a fine for filing it, and oftentimes they would have regularized their position by filing it. And in terms of the prosecution under the Integrity Commission legislation, I am unaware of the environment in which we are. Perhaps is the most active environment we've had in terms of such investigations. We have had investigations that have highlighted the nepotism and cronyism.
Yeah.
And there was adequate evidence that would recognize that such actions had occurred.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately,
those are not
Jamaica
illegal.
Doesn't have any legislation that makes cronyism, nepotism a crime.
Right.
And that is why the National Integrity Action is asking the public to consider asking their members of parliament, promoting a requirement to have this big bill, to use Trump's words, a big, beautiful bill on anti-corruption.
Yes.
And such a bill would include making bribery a crime, because currently bribery is not a crime in Jamaica. And making nepotism.
No, hold on. You did just say bribery is not a crime?
Yes, I did say that.
Bribery?
Yes, I did say that.
So if
up button, everybody mouth drop open.
Yeah, I am a little bit shocked. So if a man offer police, if you offer police money, isn't that bribery?
No, that's a different thing. So when you offer a policeman money, you're talking about perversion of his duty.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about bribery, you would agree with me that I can bribe you to do certain things.
Yeah.
Yes? Bribery is not something that only politicians do. Bribery is something that occurs in our everyday activities, both in the private and public sphere. And bribery is not a crime.
So if I offer a politician money to give me a contract, that's not a crime?
No, that is where you talk about politicians, now you're talking about public servants.
Okay.
And so under the Integrity Commission, the legislation, you can find something that could reasonably cover that scenario.
Yes.
The challenge you have with that is that you have a threshold there that speaks about how you get there, how you can be successful in that. And you and I will agree that politicians are not the only persons who can be bribed.
Right.
So let's be fair and appreciate that bribery occurs not just, and the focus should never be just on our politicians. We need to look at our own lifestyle and our own activity and recognize that bribery in and of itself in any form with any party is wrong. And so we should have it as a criminal act.
We should, yes. No,
because
Daniel.
When we set the foundation for ourselves, we stand in a better position to tell a prime minister, to tell a member of parliament, to tell a senator that you are doing something that is really not accepted by our society.
No, help me out with this, Daniel. The Integrity Commission does its investigation. And we heard the former chairman, when they went to the parliament, said that the findings of the Integrity Commission are not mere allegations, but they are facts. Explain that to me.
What the investigations would have done for the Integrity Commission is that they don't give. So you make a complaint. A complaint constitutes what you call an allegation.
Yes.
An allegation is an assertion that has not yet been proven.
Yes.
When you make this assertion, this allegation, you want it to be investigated and you want evidence.
Yes.
To support that which is being said. It is the evidence that comes forth from investigations that proves this assertion or the allegation, which is why the chairman would reasonably say that it is a fact. So what they say is based on what they see. They have proven it. They've done the investigations to confirm the existence of the information that gave rise to the allegation. And they have subsequently done investigations to confirm that this is so. And so they're now saying that because it does exist, it is a fact.
So what weight does that carry now? Because there are some people who are saying that the Integrity Commission had no real finding on the Prime Minister and therefore they should have certified him.
All right, you carry me, you go around the Mary Bush and you draw me in on the topic here. Let us be clear.
No.
The Integrity Commission made their own findings.
Yes.
They also indicated that in the absence of certain information, they were unable to come to a particular conclusion that would allow them to be able to certify. And because they weren't able to get the information that they had requested to come to their conclusion, they indicated that they...
You said they were unable to get the information that they requested, right?
Excuse me, sir?
You said they were what? Able or unable to get the information?
They weren't able.
They
whether
weren't.
by voluntary information or otherwise.
Right.
They weren't able to get this information. And so because this information remained outstanding, they were unable to confirm what was being said. And they recommended that further investigation be done by a specialist entity.
I don't know if you can help me with this because